Welcome to the Classic Mini. Oh, he wants a race. I feel like I'm on the Monte-Carlo Rally. Something you don't see every day. Only in Wales, folks, only in Wales. As a petrolhead, my dream list of cars to drive, well, it's infinite. I would love to experience every car that the world has to offer, but nearing the top of that list would have to be the Classic Mini. And now, today, thanks to my good friend Ryan, we are about to take one out on the road. Welcome back to Accelerate and welcome to the Classic Mini. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are stood in front of a Classic Mini that we are very soon going to be taking out for a drive. Bit of a different format today. This is one of those occasions where it was sort of now or never. So very spur of the moment. So Kenny isn't with us today and we're going to do a slightly different style of video. We're going to do a POV drive because, as I said, this is one of my dream cars I've always wanted to drive. So we're going to catch some of my reactions and see what it's like driving a Classic Mini in 2023. So the Classic Mini story, I mean, they started in 1959 was when the first one was released. Now, why were they so popular? They were considered an icon in the 60s. And they were actually voted the second most influential car of the 20th century, falling just behind the Ford Model T, which is basically the car that set the automobile off. And I didn't realise actually beating the Volkswagen Beetle. So it was actually more popular and considered more influential than the original Volkswagen Beetle. One of the main reasons they were so popular, they were very, very, as you can tell, very, very small sized. But there was an incredible, clever use of space because of the transversely mounted engine up front. So the engine is actually mounted on top of the gearbox, making packaging incredible in the front end of this car, which allowed the, obviously with the front wheel drivetrain as well, all of your mechanics are up front. So that left around 80% of the floor pan to passengers and luggage. So despite the size, they are actually very, very spacious inside. There have been many, many different body styles of Minis over the years, including an estate, a convertible, a beach buggy style, and they even did a van. Now, another thing that made the Mini famous was the famous Cooper S performance model and the fact that it won Monte-Carlo Rally in 1964, 65 and 67. Now, for you proper nerds, apparently the 1966 they were disqualified because something to do with the headlights didn't follow the regulation. Back to the practicality of this little beast. So you've got your boots, like I said, all the mechanicals up front. So you've got your boot space, which is surprisingly, now I've got all my camera gear in there and everyone says the room in these things is surprising. So you could easily do long trips. And obviously a lot of people did back in the day. The only sacrifice to that was a very small fuel tank, but these cars were never designed to be Autobahn motorway mile munchers. So I'm sure we can put up with that. One of my many favorite things about this car, just everything in this car, the first thing that came to mind was a sensory overload. And I mean, it's apparent, look how thin the doors are. We said on the 205 that the doors were thin. These are incredible. So you step out of this tiny exterior and you jump in to what really doesn't feel like a small interior. They have worked wonders with the room in here. And it's amazing to see the Mini badge in front. Now, this interior is absolutely no frills. And when I say no frills, there is no CD player, no stereo of any kind. The heating system, you literally have a switch on or off for the fan. Heat controls there, whether you want heat or cold. I doubt that does much difference. You've got your few switches there for your hazards, your fog lights, things like that. Very nice convenient parcel shelf here. But the thing that gets me, I am 5'9", so I am not a tall guy or a big guy by any means. Ryan did say the seat is all the way back, and that is my leg, fully extended, seat all the way back with the clutch. So, okay, the driving position certainly does take some getting used to, but again, it just does not feel cramped. The only sort of negative is there's no armrest to really speak of. But uncomfortable there. So you do find yourself, I find myself with the arm on the window, which is perfectly fine because you look cool because you're in a Classic Mini anyway. These door handles are crazy as well to get out. Pull the lever just there. And it's such a satisfying sound. Now, this is a 95, so this is a late model. One thing I will do, because I found it quite comical, everyone says there's enough room for 4 adults. So we've got to do it. We've got to squeeze in the back. So to get these seats, I think you've got to pull, clunk there, and that really doesn't give you much room, but let's try to squeeze. Ow. And we're in. And I've got to say, I know this seat is quite far back as well, but for one of the smallest cars ever produced, I am not uncomfortable. Now, I imagine with a few other people in here, might get a bit claustrophobic. Ouch. Ugh. This has the desirable engine. Let's take a look into there. So the 1275 is a 4-cylinder engine, 8 valves, so that's 2 valves per cylinder, mated to a 4-speed manual. Very clever design on these, especially for the time. So the engine is actually mounted on top of the gearbox, because as you can see, packaging was a real issue, but my God, they've managed to shoehorn that thing in there. I'm sure they were around, they came from the factory many moons ago with between the 55 to 60 horsepower range. And again, that does not seem a lot, but in something that weighs, they reckon, below 700 kilos, it's sure to be a peppy little engine. Now, I've driven us up to location here, but I've purposely haven't put my foot down yet because I do want to catch my reaction on camera. And as I said, this video is all thanks to Ryan, who was just over there, who's taking time out of his day to let me have a go. This car is actually up for sale, so if you are interested at all, either get in touch with me or I'll drop Ryan's details. This video is all about the drive, so let's jump in the driver's seat. This I am thoroughly looking forward to. Now, I really wish all of you guys were here, because there's certain things on a camera you just cannot pick up in person. And it really is how this car makes you feel. So this is an older car and starts up on the button. So, like I said, the clutch, all the pedals and everything feels like it's right here, but I do not feel cramped. 4-speed box there, feeling its age a little bit, but goes into gear lovely. You've got the little tiny handbrake. The response of this engine, now I've just jumped into this car, and the ease of driving is incredible. And like I said, I wish you guys were here, because you just can't imagine. I mean, if you've ever driven one, you'll know that feeling, but this is incredible. So the first thing that strikes you, apart from obviously the size, which everyone refers to, is this steering wheel. These are very famous for having this odd steering wheel sort of position. Now, I've never driven a bus, but I imagine this is what driving a bus feels like, as in the position of the steering wheel. As I said, this gear, you're in 4th gear before you know it. It's crazy. And like I said briefly, these cars were never designed to be motorway munchers. They were designed in the 60s when, well, there weren't that many motorways around, I imagine, just for zipping around town. And already, I mean, instantly, I get the whole, people always say about the mini charm, and already I get it. Wow. I just put my foot down, then you get a juicy bit of induction noise. And the great thing is Ryan's in front of me there in the 135, so he's slowing down for cars coming past. I feel like I've got all the room in the world. This thing is so nimble. I just can't believe the ease of driving. Now, I know that may sound stupid, but for such an older car, I was expecting to sort of having to get used to the clutch, having to get used to the throttle, everything, but it's so intuitive. Wow, that's oh, he wants a race. Oh, don't scare the others. Oh my God. Wow, that's something you don't see every day. So although they're right next to you, the pedal positioning, I love. For those who don't know, I've got a weird thing with heel toe. I love heel toeing, and come on. Obviously no rev counted on this one. So this is the Mini Sprite, which I've got to admit, I don't know that much about Minis anyway, but I'd never heard of a Mini Sprite. If it's not a Cooper S, much like most people, if it's not a Cooper S, I don't really know what it is. But it has got the 1275, so I imagine this was sort of the base model. Let's get our first pull, shall we? 2nd gear. So it makes, wow, it revs out. And it makes all the right noises, that little induction noise. Go on, he's a trier. But over this, I mean, this road is bumpy, but wow, it's taken him so well. Now, this car is completely original, apart from the wheel. The only thing that Ryan's changed are the wheels, and I've got to say, it changes the look of the car. Personally, I think it transforms the look of the car in the right way. The original wheels he does still have, so if you are interested in buying, they will come with it. Honestly, guys, I am absolutely loving this thing. Oh, the response of that engine. Now, I know I say it with a lot of cars. Because we've done a lot of fantastic naturally... Sorry, this car cut me off then. Wow, these roads are great. Fair play, right? This is mini territory. I feel like I'm on the Monte-Carlo Rally in 1964. So going back to what I was saying, we've done a lot of fantastic naturally aspirated cars as of late. And I love turbo cars. I am currently building a turbo MX-5 alongside my naturally aspirated one. You do not get that instant response. There's something about it, it just makes you feel when you put your foot down, and even this in such little power, the way the power is delivered, the moment you move, the instant you move your right foot, the power is there. Look just how nimble this thing feels. I thought the position of the steering wheel was going to be a bit off-putting, and it takes some getting used to, especially compared to 99.9% of the other cars we've driven. But it just adds to the experience. You really do know that you're in a Mini. Only in Wales, folks, only in Wales. See if we can get a good run without any animal wildlife running into the road. Oh, now we're talking. Downhill, the Mini's best friend. Wow, this thing is awesome. God, these things just make you smile. So we threw it around some curves and some country roads. Now the Mini, I know a lot of people that have dailied these cars, and I know back in the day a lot of people did used to daily them. So again, the thing I was worried about is, do you not meet your heroes? But even just out on the road, driving it normal, like I said, I have not been driving this car long, but it does not take long to get used to it, and it is surprisingly comfortable. Even on these bigger, I think they're only about 13-inch, the bigger wheels, I was expecting to be thrown around a lot. Now, don't get me wrong, it's no Bentley. You do feel that very, very short wheelbase and the entire small package. You do get that sort of jarriness, but it tackles bumps fantastically. Now, that beautiful 135i we have in front of us, that was on the option. That was on the cards. Ryan said I could do a video on that, and I was way, way more excited to do this. Wow. Come on. The way that little 1275 puts the power down, look, it just screams. And the fantastic thing about cars like this, I floored it to second, then into third, you're feeling everything. And not once was I breaking the speed limit. You'll be hard pressed to get into trouble in this thing. I have to say, and I was kind of expecting this car handles like nothing I have ever driven. And this is going to sound very weird, but in most cars, when you steer, you feel that the wheels are a fair distance ahead of you. In this, you feel like you're sat on the wheels because they are quite literally there. You get that nimble feeling that you are sat on the front wheels. And I hear the saying a lot that every petrolhead should own a Mini at one point. And I completely agree, or at least every petrolhead should at least drive a Mini, because this is just fantastic. And yeah, we're definitely in Wales. Well, isn't this an interesting situation? Now, these were bucking earlier, so we're going to take our time. My conclusion of the classic Mini. Well, first of all, I want to say once again a massive thank you to Ryan. Now, Ryan was also the reason that the Peugeot 205 Rally video was possible. Now, I think that's a good car to compare to, because I absolutely adored that car, and it was very similar in the sense of absolute bare bones, no frills, all about the drive. And I had a quick chat with Ryan, and dare I say, is this faster than the Rally? No, of course not. Fun factor? I can't believe I'm going to say it, but I think this blows the 205 out of the water. And it's one of those, like I said, you cannot portray over a video, but this thing, even just driving it normal now, it is making me happy. So it's days like today that make me realize I know some very nice and very generous people. And it's one of the many reasons I love cars. Now, I met Ryan through cars, we bonded through cars, so I am eternally grateful that this is the second dream car that's been made possible thanks to Ryan. He is planning on getting some more cool cars, so hopefully we'll be doing more videos like this, so let us know what you think of the POV style video. But for now, before I waffle too much, thank you so much for watching, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. We will see you in the next one. Boom! Oh, now we're talking. Downhill, the Mini's best friend.